Today, one of the topics getting a lot of attention here in Aspen is something we've covered a lot on Top Story, the artificial intelligence revolution. Here's a look at what some of the Aspen panelists had to say about how AI will continue to change our everyday lives and society.
It's not the first time we have a powerful technology that is clearly going to displace some significant part of what people spend their time doing. The speed at which it has arrived is new.
How do we do things like ensure the AI that's being deployed is being deployed in a transparent way, so you always know when you're interacting with AI?
In 2024, we're going to have an election, and every side, every grassroots group, and every politician will use generative AI to do harm to their opponents, and it will involve spreading misinformation. The social media companies en masse are not ready for this.
If we're not mindful, I think that we will be introducing transformative, powerful technology in which people feel fearful and don't feel excited about.
One of the things that I think we all need to come to grips with is you should be afraid of people, not of AI. The bad actors are us.
Is going to have the type of transformative impact and benefit that we hope it can have, we're going to need to include a lot more people in these conversations that traditionally haven't had a voice in the development of the technology.
Then the computers are going to develop their own language to talk to each other, at which point they become super intelligent. And that language is going to be in a language that we don't understand. What are we going to do then, folks? I propose
disconnect the network.
Somewhat of a doomsday scenario there. One of those panelists you just heard from is Daniel Huttonlocher. He joins us now. Daniel is the inaugural dean of the MIT Schwarzman College of Computing and has written and thought a lot about how AI could change society and our worldview. Dan, thanks so much for joining us. I want to pick up where Eric left off there, right? Because he was talking about where he thinks AI is going, and essentially he delivered the script to Terminator, right? The computers start talking to each other. They speak in a language that we don't speak. And then what happens next? Do you think we'll get to that point?
I'm much less concerned about those science fiction scenarios than I am about how we balance the risks and rewards of AI today. Actually, Eric and I differ on where we think it will end up in the long term. I think that these technologies will get very far, but they don't have many attributes of humans that really set us apart.
Yeah, talk to us about that, because you had a very powerful statement about the main difference between AI and humans. And your argument was AI can simulate everything humans can do, and it possibly will in the future, except love, spirituality. They can simulate it, but it won't be the real thing. But the question is, does that matter?
Well, I think many of us spend a lot of time in simulations, right? In video games, et cetera. But there's a reason that there aren't just non-player characters in a video game. The AI characters, they're also human characters. The kind of interaction that you get interacting with humans live in that fashion, even mediated by a gaming setup, is still something that we don't understand. And that I think, in my view, AI will not capture, that these simulations will not capture.
What's the biggest danger right now with AI, do you think?
So I think the biggest danger actually is one of how we respond to this from a regulatory and sort of controls perspective. One of the things I mentioned there was I worry about the risk of simultaneous over-regulation and under-regulation.
Right.
That there are cases where we pretty clearly should be regulating this use of AI in giving medical advice, for example. I mean, if I pretend to be a doctor, that's not a very good thing.
You can go on ChatGPT, you can ask it for medical advice, you can ask it for legal advice, it will give it back to you. If you ever try to do that without a medical license, you would obviously be put in jail, but no one's going to put the computer in jail.
Right, and so I think we do need to look at this, and I think that there are many avenues for doing that, in the same way that doctors and others are regulated.
On that point, though, something interesting was brought up in your talk, and it was that when the Model T came out, when Ford develops the automobile, right, there was no stop signs, there was no traffic lanes, no stoplights, obviously. The technology came first, and then the regulation came. Is that what's going to happen with AI?
Well, I'm a firm believer, and that's what I worry about, over-regulation. If we try to regulate the broad-based AI technology, sort of like the motor vehicle technology, I think we have a huge risk of over-regulating. I think that what we need to do is focus on specific domains where AI is being used, places like health or legal kinds of advice, but many other places as well. And we have the structures for doing that kind of regulation.
You're at MIT, you're teaching these kids who are so advanced, and you admitted to me sometimes they're more advanced than professors because they're spending all day with this technology. What are you telling them? Because really the future is in their hands, and this technology, it can be so dangerous.
It is, and one of the things that we've really for the last 4 or 5 years now been doing with the new Schwarzman College of Computing is we've integrated consideration of societal and ethical issues into the kinds of programming assignments and projects that the students have to do. Yeah. One of the things about ethics is we teach it in the abstract. It's very hard. It's sort of like the book learning. You really need to say, gee, I'm training this language model. What text was I really using to train that? What kind of bias might that particular text represent? And how do I correct for that? So those things happen in a way that in practice, the students learn about them.
Daniel Huttonlocher, we thank you so much for joining Top Story tonight. Thank you for all the work you're doing. You're on the front lines of this AI revolution. There's still so much we want to learn and hear about it. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.